Hello and welcome, Rangers. I'm Joe. Dan's going to be here in a minute. He's just shutting off the dog's TV. Yes, the dog has his own shows and movies. He usually sleeps pretty well with either family-oriented fantasy movies like Inkheart or Hallmark films. He's a little funny that way. But as it is, because of circumstances, we're working downstairs these days rather than upstairs. Makes for a change in scenery. That aside, this is going to be a heavy enough stream, as we have, for one thing, pretty bad Wi-Fi right now, it seems. And for another thing, we've got this topic, which, well, it's been 1 year since the passing of the Power Ranger. I don't know how else to describe Jason David Frank other than the Power Ranger, because the man was the one who built and carried the Power Rangers on his shoulders. And the problem is that looking at, how should I put it? Looking at the situation, I know a lot of people are very optimistic about a reboot to the franchise. I'm not. Specifically because it's not going to have the older Ranger actors to carry it. And I find that the problem is that I don't see Saban being able to strike lightning in a bottle twice, I guess you could say. And they're going to try, but I don't think it's possible. The cultural landscape has changed. People are different, and I just think that the other factor is that Jason David Frank really made Power Rangers what it was. Like, if he had not been in Power Rangers, if he had not carried it like he did, if we didn't have him, I don't think Power Rangers would have survived. And I don't think it could have lasted so long.
It's a little similar to Stan Lee, how superheroes probably wouldn't have survived without him.
Yeah. That's very true. He did for Power Rangers what Stan Lee did for Marvel. And real quick, we have Space Ranger Review, YouTube.
Good afternoon.
Whom I have never actually seen before.
Welcome.
Yeah, I want to check out to see if this is actually a fellow YouTube channel. And if it is, we'll plug them. We may as well. RIP to the OG Green Ranger, Jason David Frank. Yeah. For me, he was the White Ranger growing up because I grew up with the 95 movie. I saw him as Green Ranger, but he stood out more to me as the White Ranger. He was the White Ranger.
The presentation of him coming down as the White Ranger was very impressive.
Yeah. And looks like Space Ranger Review YouTube, real quick, is a larger channel than our own. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, check him out if you want. Good on him. He's had more luck than us with the algorithm, so totally support him there. Let's hope the Wi-Fi stabilizes.
Yes.
So, yeah. But to most, GDF was... actually, I'm going to test something because I sincerely don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi. I'll just close up one window just in case. And yeah, the trouble is, let's see. Oh yeah, it's working. We're just all right. But yeah, the thing is, for me, I grew up with him being White Ranger. You grew up with him much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it was the movie that more impressed me because that's the first that really well that and the Descending from the Heavens thing. Yeah, there was something angelic and otherworldly about the White Ranger powers. I find, although the Green Ranger powers had a lasting impact on a lot of people for good reason. You had the Green with Evil story, which was a great one, and you had ultimately the story of well, just pick any big event story with Tommy in the first season, like, and even the first bit of the second season. Like, you look at Green No More. Oh my gosh, how Tommy had to fight Goldar without the Green Ranger powers to defeat Goldar. Like, honestly, Tommy was king.
Yeah, it's like Tommy was a character, and with JDF's charisma, he was the definition of 90s cool.
Oh yeah, but he did it effortlessly. Like, you look at not to criticize too harshly. I do like some of these characters, but like you look at, let's say, Wolverine. That character's trying very hard to be 90s cool. Batman a few times in a few movies and whatnot, and cartoons and whatnot, trying very hard to be cool. Superman had moments like that in the 90s movie, not movie, but TV series, where he was trying very hard to be a cool character. But Tommy just did it so effortlessly. And heck, you look at anime, Kenshin Himura. I never found him very cool. I found he was just playing it cool, aping at it. And Tommy just gets it out of the ballpark. But there was something sympathetic and empathetic about the character. He was a good guy, but he was also had that edge. He was good but not safe. I guess Lewis and Tolkien would describe it as such. And there was ultimately something sincere in the character. But at the same time, there's a lot of boys who crushed on Kimberly, Amy Jo Johnson, and they were able to live vicariously through Tommy because they saw themselves in Tommy or something of themselves in Tommy, and him getting with Kim kind of validated something in them, or so they might have been thinking. I don't know.
Although I was the one that crushed on Kim, I didn't see it through that lens. I wanted to be Rocky, Tommy, just like I wanted to be Justin and be his sidekick.
Tommy's sidekick?
Yeah.
Oh.
And as much as I crushed on Kim, it was completely separate from that.
Yeah, I'm just guessing.
There are some that might say that.
Well, yeah, I think the other thing with Tommy is that he quickly became more an aspirational hero, like someone you can aspire after. And yet, yeah, it's not a character who's supposed to be, I think, well, there's a relatable element, but there's also a aspirational element. Like, he's larger than life, much like Luke Skywalker or Superman are. He's in that mold, but he was first introduced as a villain, but then gets his redemption arc, and he's a character who was violated into being a villain. There's a lot of similarities with the one cartoon Superman episode where Superman's possessed by Darkseid and goes rogue. But much as they tried very hard with that episode to capture something of the element of Green with Evil, it just didn't leave any impact on me. And I've noticed it didn't leave too much of an impact on a lot of people I talked to. But Tommy had an impact. Tommy seems to have really strongly affected people. And it has to do with, as you said, GDF's charm. And then later on, Tommy evolved into a character who was someone who Well, the fact the character didn't really have much of a past became a key focal point in the Zio season. And one of the best storylines in there was Tommy discovering his surname is Trueheart, which, and that he's part native, that he's Métis. And I think that also affected me to an extent, as I found that pretty cool. So that, those of us who are part native are not just simply filthy half breeds, but we have our own superhero sorts. But on the other hand, it's very apt to call Tommy Trueheart because he's very true to his heart and whatnot. You had the Turbo season where I find that it's continuing a lot of the stuff from the previous season in Zio. So Tommy's on this journey and he's going from boy to man, and his is not an easy journey. And from there, we next see him in Dino Thunder, and in there, he's become the man everyone always knew he'd grow into. And yet, he's so much more because he's basically Hank McCoy. Like he's got this past as a great superhero, but he's also become a scientist who can devise morphers, who could come up with ranger abilities. So he grew from like in season 1, he certainly thinks of himself as a bit of a jock. But then he goes and becomes a scientist who, while not as brilliant, I don't think anyone could be as brilliant as Billy Cranston, but he's just shy of that. Like, honestly, he's probably the second smartest character in Power Ranger history. But the thing about it is that it felt organic. It was not like he wasn't a Gary Stu. He organically grew into that. Like we could see in the first season and the second one, he had brains between his ears. He was smart. He was one of the smartest Rangers around. He just didn't believe he was. And it's the same arc as Kimberly in that regard.
Yeah, I was just going to.
And even Rocky. Those three characters started off not thinking they were very smart, but they grow into their brains. It's just like how Billy grows into his strength, his physical strength. But then Tommy, I like in there, and well, I guess Forever Red also links to 2 periods of Tommy's life and whatnot. So you got this organic growth into this hero who's larger than life, who's so much smarter than the average person, who's got a high IQ. And he, like, in Zio and Turbo, he seems like he's almost angry. He's very passionate. There's something heated about the character, and that has to do with the Red Ranger abilities as well. The Red Rangers are always written that way. But then he's kind of mellowed out by the time of Dino Thunder. And the thing is, all throughout this, GDF carried the character forward. And the sad thing is that, like, I remember checking out I forget his name, but the actor who played Skull, and even the actor who played Bulk. I saw some pictures on their Instagram where, looking at GDF, like, I've tried suicide a few times in the past. And looking at him, I was like, oh yeah, this guy tried it. And this guy, that's the route he took. You could believe it. And it's horrifying to think about. But on the other hand, you can see in those pictures, there's a darkness in there. And it's not that he's evil, it's just that there's an inner turmoil in there. A sadness that's always been there. And it's interesting and it's also sad because they apparently took these pictures when he was unawares in some cases. And you see him, I think it was at when they were filming the 95 movie, for example. There's this great photo on Instagram. Maybe I should go look it up. I'll what's the actor's name? Skull actor, Power Rangers. Here he is. I look him up on Instagram. I'll like, how do I put it? It's just something that you can see, like, rather than product selling. I'll try finding it. And he's got so much stuff. Him and the bulk actor, obviously they became chums.
Yeah, that's to be expected.
Let me check the date on this one. Oh. Okay. How many weeks? He had a picture. It was him or the bulk actor. I know I can find it. Okay. Where is it? Okay. Okay. I need to look up the bulk actor. His name. Okay. It might be him, but one of them had posted this great photo of GDF staring out at the sea, and it was just, oh my gosh. You look at it and you go, good Lord. What set on this guy? And it was a heavy thing to look at. Like, you could not look at it and start thinking. And even I would argue sorrowing for Jason David Frank and seeing here it is. I wonder if I can quickly share. Now, nobody seems to be present for this thing. Let me see. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Let me share this. Yeah, you see, this is the picture, and you see that there?
He looks like he's contemplating just jumping.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. Like, yeah. This was in '95. He carried that for nearly 30 years. What the frick? And we gotta bear in mind, he always made comments about he was told all throughout production, all throughout his time at Power Rangers, he was replaceable, both as an actor and a human being. Power Rangers made his career, but what did it do to his mental health?
That's a good question.
And part of me kind of wonders, was it worth it? He was a brilliant man. He shined as bright as the White Ranger actually did in the show, as bright as all of his powers did, as any of the Ranger powers that he took up. Was it worth it, losing such a human being, if only to get Power Rangers? Was, like, you get what I mean? Like, is it worth the exchange, his life? And because apparently before that he didn't have as much self-esteem problems, from what I know. He walked out with those problems. Was it worth it?
That is an excellent question.
I don't know if it was. I think he was likable and even admirable as a human being. He would have made it no matter what. But maybe he wouldn't have passed the way he did if he hadn't been abused the way he was.
Treating him like
Garbage.
like money, like just bags of shiny rocks and paper.
Yeah. And he never stopped giving to the Power Ranger fandom. He never stopped. Like, that's the thing. This is you look at a lot of, there are fandoms where the fan base grows toxic, There are times when the creator grows toxic. In Power Rangers, I don't think that's ever really been the case. I don't think Power Rangers ever got toxic. All my interactions with the Power Ranger community has been mostly pleasant. There is a toxic side, like there is in every group, but that's a minority, and that I've not seen either on Twitter or here on YouTube and whatnot. But yeah, it's just, this is just, the thing is though, like I said, he was treated so poorly by the staff. And I remember a time when I thought David Yost was the most abused by the staff. But looking at the way he talked in the last few years of his life, GDF, and the way he taught, his poetry came out, which was very dark stuff, very depressed stuff. Like, even Robert E. Howard's poetry is more cheerful than it. And, that guy was suicidal for like 10 years on a level that was just shocking when you look at his letters from on. GDF's poetry is even darker. And he was an award-winning poet, a brilliant poet, actually, very brilliant. He's kid Pissaket. His short films that he produced, some of them got really dark. And you look at him in this pose, he struggled, and for lack of a better term, and he just, I don't know, like, I look at that picture and it just depresses me, because he may not have been a superhero in real life, but like you see all the videos, like My Mighty Morphin Life. He's smiling, he's happy, he's cheerful. It seems he's jumping out of airplanes and he's having a blast, or so it seems. Then you find out, this darkness has always been there under the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I struggled with my own darkness at quite a few points in my life. I still struggle. And I look at that and I just go, this brings me down. This depresses me on so many levels. And the sad thing is that the Saban crew always told him he was replaceable. Their nickname for him and the other Rangers, actors, was Helmets. And according to GDF in a lot of his videos, and some of the other Ranger actors confirmed it in some of those when you would chat with them on screen, on his channels, and whatnot, from what I've seen. And this is where I just can't bring myself to like the idea of a reboot, because to me it's saying, yes, they're just helmets. We could put anyone in those helmets. Anyone who can fit in them. Like, Dan, you could be Tommy. Like, GDF mattered. That's what it seems like to me. And I don't like that. Because the only actor who could have played Tommy, who could play Tommy, and do what and elevate Tommy into a larger figure into my mind, than even like Superman to an extent, was Jason David Frank. The only one who could make Zach so darn charming was Walter Jones. The only one who could make Rocky seem like such a big girl was Steve Carvis. The only one who could make Kimberly seem like the perfect girl next door was Amy Jo Johnson. The only one who could make, for example, to my mind, at least to my 5-year-old mind, what Aisha shine so bright and seem so beautiful and so striking and badass was Karen Ashley. The only one who could make Billy go change the way he did and seem so cool was David Yost. So to say we could replace them, but when you look at the comic books and whatnot and the various other adaptations, none of them seem to quite stick quite so well, in my opinion. And that's where it's like nothing's ever as good as the original show. And I just don't like the idea of sending a message to, like, I know you got like your Batman and James Bond stuff. They always swap them around. It makes sense. I support that. I like that. You know, everyone needs a chance at it. But when you look at like the whole issue of Tommy saying, well, we can replace him. No, like the Power Ranger characters are different. Like, as GDF grew as an actor and as a talent and as a figure in the fan base and as a producer and writer and whatnot, so too did Tommy grow with him. And like, given the traumas of this man, replacing him as soon as he's no longer in this world, like, as Tommy, I just it turns that time he spent as Tommy into a product. And I know Saban thinks of it as a product, and I know it technically is a product, being a franchise and all. But on the other hand, it fills me with horror that he would have suffered for nothing. And I don't know. I don't want, like, I know my feelings on the matter don't matter, but God, I don't know. I just think he deserved better, and it's disrespectful towards him, considering how much of himself he invested into Tommy. That's what it is. He invested him more than anything, like more than anybody. He invested himself into Tommy. And to say, well, Tommy's a character as a product like Superman or Luke Skywalker. Okay, other people can play Luke Skywalker or Superman, but no one else can play Tommy.
This isn't Rita Repulsa. There's been a couple different actresses who have played Rita.
And each of them were, like, I think that each of them should be treasured.
Yeah.
But like Lord Zed and Tommy, there's like, and all the Rangers that have come, there's like the actors selected for are the only ones who can play them. At least to my mind. Now, Zed, I heard that the new Zed, that they did bring in a new Zed actor. I heard he did a great job. But I haven't seen it, I should. But the old Zed actor poured so much energy into his role.
And the cheesiness of that villain, he wouldn't be Lord Zed without Tommy.
And yeah, it's a counterpoint, the two. Like, because Zed is basically the arch nemesis of Tommy. Yeah. But, we've got someone observing on Twitch. Oh, that's good.
If you want to add to the conversation, go right ahead.
Yeah. But, yeah, this picture is just, this is so depressing. And I don't say, as in, grossed out or anything. I say it as, honestly, have you ever, like, I don't think there's any picture I've ever seen of an artistic talent in the past 50 years or something, which is as grim to look at. This is the very definition of despair.
And part of me can't help but think it wasn't so much a suicide as it was murder. To push a man like that, to push him,
like the way Saban,
his acts,
well,
the way he was treated that threw him
over the edge.
Well,
yeah, it's something that, like, there was a lot built into this. Like, you look at that picture, you know, it was building up for since the 95.
Mm-hmm.
And I primarily blame Saban because like they tore him down at every turn. And that's why I don't think they deserve to reboot the franchise and say, let's make profit off this. No. You drove a man to his doom. The way they treated, for example, Steve Cardenas when he said, how about equal pay for everyone? Like, everyone gets paid the same. You raise all of our pay. And basically, what was he then told? You're out. Also, we're going to emasculate your character and tear him down in the Turbo movie. And then he could not get another acting career, like another acting gig after that. That's just what the? You look at the way they treated David Yost. Good Lord. Like, you don't treat human beings that way. The way they treated, like the kindest thing I've ever heard anyone say about them was from Walter Jones, who said, oh yeah, these guys are not very smart. You've never met them. These guys were really stupid, referring to the production cast and crew and writers on the staff. And it's like, what? Now, I love Power Rangers. I love what we got, and apparently the director of the movie treated everyone all right, but you look at the stories the actors tell, and it's like, my gosh, this company, wow, like, what are you doing? You can't treat human beings this way. And that's something, at least, like, you look at the
Space Ranger review.
Oh, hello. Welcome.
You have a nice channel.
Yeah, we just found out about it by looking it up. Hope you don't mind we plugged it for about a minute or two. But yeah, this is such a... Yeah, I don't think there should be a reboot. Because for one thing, I don't think it'll capture lightning in a bottle. For another thing, I think it trivializes what GDF went through. And I don't think he deep down wanted a reboot. I think we've got to bear in mind his comments about hating the helmet comments, hating how he was treated. We've got to bear in mind he was invited for the next Celebration episode, Once and Always a Ranger, and he declined it. He declined. And he made a very big point of doing so. He had previously stated he would never decline it, but he would never decline a Celebration episode, but he did it. He preferred to try to work on his magnum opus, that is to say, Legend of the White Dragon, which, God willing, we will see next year. But this, how shall I put it? I don't think when you treat people so poorly, you deserve to reboot and reap in the cash. So that is something, maybe I'm just too old for it, but I will not support the new reboot.
Neither will I.
It's going to suck. We all know it is, because most recent production stuff sucks. I'm just saying it usually does. And if people disagree, that's fine. Disagree away. It's fine. We don't mind. If you look forward to it and you want to watch it, watch it. Love what you love. But also, like, if anyone ever has moments like this,
there are helplines.
Yeah.
And contact them if you're feeling down.
God, this is just... He is just... He should have gotten help. He should have reached out to some. Like, he was friends with a lot of the production cast. A lot of the production crew. He should have reached out. You look at Amy Jo Johnson, how she broke down sobbing afterwards. He should have reached out to her.
The way
he should have reached out to David Yost. David Yost was basically his best friend. He should have reached out to David. Or Jason Fount, I think it is. I think that was the Time Force Ranger actor. Jason Fount, I know, was one of his best mates as well. Or there's the guy from Bat in the Sun. Those two were very close. You should have reached out to them. I'm not trying to. It's just, yeah. Yeah. Look at that kick. You know anyone else who could have done a kick like that?
Yeah.
God. He made Jean-Claude Van Damme look like a wuss. Yeah.
Pity he wasn't part of the Expendables movie.
He should have been.
Yeah.
He should have maybe starred in it.
I mean, Sylvester Stallone and Jason David Frank.
That would have been or even just a different movie, with the two of them together.
Yeah.
That would have been freaking great. R.I.P. to the OG Green Ranger. And I cry every single day and night. Sure, I'll probably video of him. Okay. I don't think we quite cry like that. But yeah, I do understand the sentiment.
Hey, Willie Haywood.
Hello, Willie Haywood. It has been a year since GDF. Yeah, I know. That's what I ended up thinking the other day. It's been a whole year. My gosh, that is just comes. So just come. You look at the. I'm gonna be honest. At this time, I'm glad we're gonna be doing well. I'm glad we're basically rewatching Lost Galaxy, but we also have to continue our Dino Thunder reviews, and that's gonna be hard because GDF is front and center in that, and the only reason it's hard is because he put his heart and soul into that, and oh my gosh, it's gonna be so freaking hard at this time of the year because
as much as they were mistreated in production,
they tried hard to
the Rangers put so much of themselves in their characters that if you mentioned Batman, you could put different guys in a Spider-Man costume or a Batman costume on screen.
It doesn't make a look of a difference who it is. But if you put someone in a White Ranger costume or a Green Ranger costume, they're not Tommy.
It's not going to be the same.
But then you put Jason David Frank into a costume, he's Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
No one else could have done that.
The charisma he had.
Yeah.
Even if he was only on screen for 2-3 minutes.
He stole the scene.
Presence he had.
And il était très sincère. He was so very sincere. And
that is something else that
I definitely would have liked to have seen him in a movie with Stallone. And if they had to, I don't know, an expendable type movie, like you said, where it's maybe, I think, just the two of them, and Stallone maybe as the mentor character and GDF as the student or something. I don't know. That would have been a cool movie. But La Problème is, but Jason David Frank.
And I think that honesty also is what people liked. People could tell that he was honest.
Yeah, if I don't know, I gotta stop sharing for a moment. Let me see. GDFF. I'm having a hard time here with Instagram. All right. I just want to share this. Okay, 1 second. Share screen. Let's see. Share. All right. Let's see. Yeah. This is just. Let's read what he's got to say. On November 19th, it was on the 19th, we lost a brilliant and beautiful and amazing soul. Jason left an imprint on millions of people, and his loss has been felt worldwide. While we mourn the loss of our hero, we've decided to continue what Jason worked so hard throughout his life, his passions. He was passionate about his family, friends, martial arts, acting, poetry, and especially his fans. Yeah. Legend of the White Dragon will be continuing. And let me actually go to this account. Let's see this. I think that it also being 30 years set on the 30th anniversary of the OG era of Power Rangers also adds. Yeah, it's been a while since I logged into this Instagram account. Like, I should look up Legend of the White Dragon facts a lot more and production details because I've not been paying too much attention lately. We've been busy with other stuff, but it's also hard looking at it because, as Haywood and Space Ranger Review said, because like you get actors like I should come I don't know, like Orlando Bloom, Brad Pitt, or something, and it's hard to even like them as individuals. I find I look at them outside of the role they play, and I'm just repulsed by them. GDF, like, he's charming. Like, he was charming, like, because he was sincere, as you said, and he was very honest. He wasn't repulsive, and he cared about his fans. That's the difference. So you look at this and you go, oh, it's hard to look at because, you know. Yeah. Look at this poster. This is just cool.
Yeah.
And so much work put. So I'm looking at this stuff. Let's see.
The prophecy tells of a duel between the two dragons of a shared crystal. We must join together to prevent the schemes of evil men. I agree, there is so much you don't know. All that matters is that you are now a white dragon. The spirit you fight is still strong within you. You took everything from me.
You can't change the past. You have to let it go.
No!
All you can do is show up now.
Well, Let's see what we're working with.
Where is Eric Reed?
Wow. That's cool. Wow. I don't know what else to say, like, other than wow. A movie with GF and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Ironically, that would not have gone over very well with either, as they had an intense dislike for each other.
But seeing JDF punch Jean-Claude Van Damme into the ground would have been an entertaining sight.
Yeah, considering how arrogant Van Damme is. Comme, nous sommes français, we're French, and we couldn't stand that guy. Like, he had an ego. But yeah, I definitely would have liked to have seen him get the stuffing. It would have been the funny thing because rather than cheering for the Le Français, the Frenchman, we'd be cheering for the Anglophone.
I mean, we do need to give exceptions to the rule.
Yeah. But yeah. So it is what it is, and that was a really cool video. That was really cool. We need more films like that. We need more of this. Way more. And yet, yeah.
And that's probably what happens when bean counters and people in power turn individuals into products.
Or try to.
Yeah.
Yeah, GDF was someone that kind of fucked at that. And yeah. And honestly, I hope it is the biggest movie of next year. And I honestly hope it flips the industry upside down. And I hope it is the biggest indie film like up to that point. Because honestly, it deserves to succeed, and I do think it kind of needs to succeed in a way that we've not seen in a long time. When you consider, when you consider that Star Wars was a set of indie films, essentially, this would be the next biggest in history. And I think if it's a success, and I think it would teach a lesson to Hollywood, and I think it would teach them a lesson and I think it would also be a good challenge to Saban. And if it succeeds on a great level, hopefully it'll tell Saban knock it off and to start treating its staff like people.
These are people. These are individuals.
Not products.
And this is what leads to people who wish to enter the entertainment industry, and only end up poisoned and become unrecognizable.
Well, yeah, look at what happened with GDF.
Yeah.
What with how much he suffered, and like that one picture I showed earlier. Oh man. Well, I think this has gone on long enough. We didn't do this stream for profit or anything. We did it out of a sense of necessity that I guess we have to kind of, I mean, if we end up doing this next year, that'll be depressing, but on some level, it'll be very depressing to think about because come I think we kind of have to because it is Power Rangers, and it's just heavy to talk about and to think about because doing this year in year out. But GDF does merit getting. He deserves to be honored like this, but it's one of those. Oh man, I can't believe he's not here anymore, and that's hard and hard to think about, hard to imagine, hard to accept. But we're gonna we'll be shutting the stream down. I know it's a short stream, but there's stuff we have to do, and I'll be recording a Red Ranger Metaphysics episode. I had to do some, there's some stuff that has to be recorded for that, and we're going, because the first episode will be scripted, and then we'll do another episode where Dan and I discussed that subject, and then we're going to continue on with our reviews. Probably done with that. I think it'd be the right thing to do. So, to everyone out there, if you're suffering, there are helplines, stand up.
Make sure you call them. Reach out to someone you could trust.
Yeah, and remember the power is within you all.